All right, let's talk about WordPress, but I want you to think about it a little differently. Don't just picture a piece of software. Picture a massive, sprawling digital city. I mean, this thing powers a huge chunk of the web we all use every single day. And just like any big city, it's always evolving, always facing new problems. So today, we're going to do a kind of State of the Union for this digital metropolis.
And from the outside, man, this city looks like it's thriving. It is absolutely buzzing with energy. There are new features and upgrades popping up all the time, basically like new parks and public transit lines designed to make life better for its millions of digital citizens. It really feels like a place of constant innovation.
But if you look a little closer, you start to see some cracks in the pavement. We're talking about some serious growing pains here, like logistical gridlock that feels like a citywide traffic jam, a nagging identity crisis where it's not sure if it's still the cool place to be, and this fundamental multi-trillion-dollar question about who's actually supposed to pay to keep the lights on.
Okay, so first things first. Let's pop the hood and take a look inside the machine. What's new and exciting coming up in WordPress 6.9?
So there are some really practical quality of life updates on the way. You know how cluttered the editor can get? Well, soon you'll be able to hide blocks you're not using, which is just fantastic for focusing. Then there's a big push to simplify the whole site editing experience, because let's be honest, it can feel a bit overwhelming sometimes. And maybe my favorite, the command palette, that super handy shortcut tool, is going to work everywhere in the dashboard, not just inside the editor. Huge time saver.
So you see, these aren't just flashy new gadgets. These are essential upgrades to the city's public works. Think of it like paving the roads, clearing up confusing signage, and making the subway system more efficient. It's all about making life smoother and easier for everyone who lives and works here.
But you know, while the city's infrastructure is getting a facelift, the town square, the community, the people, is starting to feel a whole lot of pressure. Let's talk about that. And this pressure is coming from two totally different directions. On one hand, you've got this logistical nightmare. WordCamps are the big community meetups, right? Well, in 2026, the three main global events are all getting crammed into a crazy 4.5-month window. It's chaos. Sponsors have to pick and choose. Volunteers are going to be completely burned out. And then on the other hand, you have this perception problem. More and more designers and developers are starting to see WordPress as legacy tech. It's just losing its buzz to slicker, newer tools.
A developer named Nick Hamzi really just put it bluntly in a post that got a ton of attention. He said, WordPress lost the cool kids. And that's not a technical problem, that's a brand problem. It's a huge deal because it's about whether the next generation of builders and creators are going to choose to build their homes in this city.
This brings us to something even bigger. This question goes way beyond WordPress and gets right to the heart of a massive debate about how all the open source software that basically runs our world is going to survive. Just take a second and look at that number. $8.8 trillion. That's what some folks estimate it would cost to replace all the open source software we rely on. It is a mind-boggling figure, and it shows you just how incredibly valuable this whole ecosystem is. So how in the world do we protect something that valuable? Well, the founder of Drupal, which is another huge open source project, came up with this really powerful idea. He calls it the public infrastructure argument. And the logic is actually pretty simple. Governments rely on open source software to run, so shouldn't they help pay to maintain and secure it, just like they pay for roads and bridges? Let's break that down. Governments are massive users. I mean, the European Commission alone has over 100 Drupal sites, but they give almost nothing back. It's created this totally unsustainable situation where, and get this, 96% of the value is being propped up by just 5% of the contributors. The proposal is to start treating this software like the essential public service it's clearly become.
And I want to be really clear here. This is not just some abstract debate happening over in Drupal land. This discussion directly impacts WordPress. The long-term health of the platform, the stability of all those themes and plugins you use, it all depends on solving this exact sustainability puzzle.
So, we've got a product that's improving, a community that's feeling squeezed, and this giant unanswered question about who pays the bills. So where does our digital city go from here? What's next? Well, Joost de Valk, the founder of Yoast, has a pretty clear idea. To tackle that cool factor problem, he argues that WordPress needs a real, empowered marketing team and a much clearer product direction. Basically, the city needs to get better at telling its own story, and it needs a city planner making sure the new buildings are what people actually want.
Which leaves us with the big final question, doesn't it?
Can the world's most popular digital city manage to fix its traffic jams, figure out how to fund its essential services, and become cool again? The answer to that is going to shape a huge part of the internet for years to come.